Omensight from Spearhead Games is something unique in our current day and age. It's a colorful, vibrant, and unique title that tells a story that we've experienced in some form or another, but still, it somehow remains completely separated from them, taking its own unique twist on the storytelling elements that you're about to see. It's a game that will both surprise and astonish you every time you revisit an area that you've been to once before by opening up new corridors, new pathways, and even having hidden secrets within them that you can explore at a later date. In this world of Euralia, the world is not as easy as it seems. It has been torn asunder by a war raging between the Pyragian Empire and the Redentian Resistance, all because of two warring factions, two leaders, Radica and the Emperor Endric himself. As the flames of war have torn the world asunder, you are cast into the role of a Harbinger, an entity that is called upon as a failsafe to prevent the end times from coming to. You are, in essence, a Grim Reaper turned Time Lord. You are the fourth horseman in this game, and your goal? To hunt down the priestess's killers. Now, everything leading up to it is unique. It's as easy as it sounds. But unfortunately, it isn't quite what you would expect, as every twist and every turn plays out. But in this review, we're going to remain as spoiler free as possible. So, first up, we're going to talk sound design. Now, there is a lot to appreciate when it comes to Spearhead Games' detail to this world. The smallest movement creates a beautiful sound that could almost be beyond believable. Whether it's the footsteps of the Harbinger, the skittering of the Rodentians soldiers meeting a battlefield, the Pyragian soldiers lifting up their shields, or even a corpse hitting the ground. Everything sounds beyond detailed. It's perfect. It's well played out. Even the soundtrack itself is beyond enjoyable and definitely deserves a listen to. This doesn't mean that you're actually going to be able to just go out and find it, but definitely take your time to enjoy everything within this game. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The sound effects, accenting combat, the voice acting, all of it is very well done, and something that is surprising for most indie games in this current day and age. Now, there are a few moments where the sound effects and even the storytelling feel like they've taken a small spiral downwards. And this doesn't mean it's a horrible game, but it does mean that the team behind the game has definitely and noticeably put a lot of time and a lot of effort into what they're doing. And it does seem that maybe sometimes they should have taken a small break in order to bring this to life. Now, with headphones on, this game sounds even better. It's loud, it's vibrant, it is absolutely riveting, and it's something that you don't often see in most games today. Now, does this mean that I'm going to highly recommend headphones for the game? Yes, it does, and surprisingly enough, I actually enjoyed the game my second time through with headphones on. But what about if you decide to play it on your TV or surround sound system? Well, if you have a surround sound system or even a sound bar, you're in for an absolute treat. Even when visiting the witch's lair near the tree, you're going to hear a lot of sound, a lot of detail in this game, whether it's the water trickling in the distance, the sound of you turning in your XP to level up, or even the soft hum of the music in the background and the atmospherics. They're all very well done. They're very well played out, and they absolutely feel like they belong in this title. Now, that's not something you always see in video games. Some games do happen to drop the ball in this area, especially when it comes to voice acting. It is more noticeable than ever. But it does leave no room to have any more desires and expectations. The game delivers exactly what they were looking to offer, and it is very well brought to life in Omensight, and it's something we can highly appreciate. Now, one thing you're going to be wondering, what about gameplay and graphics? Well, since we are segmenting this review, we're going to talk gameplay first, especially since you're getting a good look at graphics. So, gameplay. Gameplay for the most part is straightforward. You will unlock abilities as you go. In the early stages of the game, it's just a basic hack and slash where you're going to dart around, comboing attacks against enemies, quickly dwindling down any reinforcements they have and utilizing your companion's capabilities, which all do have cooldowns. Even when meeting bosses for the first time, don't expect just to push through them. Don't expect to absolutely slaughter them and their forces, because the game does get incrementally harder as you go. Now, does this mean that you're going to have a flawless playthrough every time as you level up? No, there's been times where I myself have absolutely been hammered to the ground and taught exactly what I need to do in order to progress a second time around without a death. Now, does this mean that you will go back to easier stages and clear it? Yes, you can clear them quite a bit easier as you play through the game. You'll unlock new pathways to explore, boss fights will be a lot easier, and overall, your experience will become a lot more enjoyable. The game is one of those that does have a challenge to it as you progress. Now, progression isn't as linear as it sounds. Yes, you will get experience for beating enemies. Yes, you will get experience for clearing stages and progressing through the game. But don't expect every bit of XP you get to actually push you to a new level. Don't expect it to unlock new abilities, because this game itself is not as forgiving as it sounds, and it's not one that plays favorites by any form of the word. Now, one thing that was kind of interesting in the game is, you're going to see here momentarily, is outside of, repeating bosses over and over like you're seeing here, I did take my time to go back. I did take my time to defeat the enemies I needed to defeat. And just like Radica, I decided to farm, and level up a little bit more. This means I had more access to more abilities rather quickly, and it even gave me a chance to investigate corridors I didn't have a chance to investigate beforehand. Now, with a little bit of patience, I was able to go back and fight Radica's deathless form with a bit more ease. However, I still needed to level up. This meant I need more XP for my weapons, and I even needed more XP to level up the Harbinger herself. Luckily for me, XP and shards are two separate entities. One levels up your weapons and abilities for your companions, and one also allows you to level up the Harbinger directly, giving her new abilities to use in combat. As you can see here, I don't actually have any of her abilities in combat quite yet, outside of passives, which can be earned over time by filling up each of those orb slots. However, you may notice now, with a little bit of time, a little bit exploring in the story, and progression, the Harbinger herself is a force to be reckoned with. She has a lot more capabilities when it comes to combat. This means both her and her companions are actually pretty lethal a pretty lethal duo. And that's one of the most important things for combat within this game itself, is taking your time to level up both you and your companions as well as your equipment. As you can see here, combat's a lot easier. I progressed quite a bit further, and it seems like a lot more has been added to the game mechanically speaking. This means platforming. This is also talking about combat directly. Now, gameplay is spread out through two different approaches. One is combat directly, and one is actually exploration itself. So you will be spending a lot of time going back and forth between both combat and exploration all at once. Another part is, when it comes to gameplay mechanics, you won't be seeing directly, but we'll see later on in the video, is as you progress, you unlock these abilities to unlock doors that were previously sealed. You'll learn new seals to go into different portions of the game, which end up unlocking new side stories, but also entire new areas that you've never seen before. And this remains largely true for the entirety of the game. New abilities allow for more unique combat approaches. New exploration mechanics unlocking allows for more exploration and less repetitiveness in areas that you've been to before. But also, it allows you to have more story when said and done, especially since you are going to be revisiting areas quite a bit. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Luckily for Spearhead Games, this does work out in their favor, especially when you do get to meet new companions. You do get to push and see things you haven't seen before, whether it's this one, which we've seen before with the Bear Ludric, or even having seen on multiple occasions with Radica, since you will be visiting, as I said, areas rather repeatedly with cast members that you have come to know and love. This even means that sometimes, just sometimes, you may want to take breaks from the game. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I've loved my entire experience with Omensight, and I can't say my experience with Omensight by any means has been a bad one. Combat's fluid, abilities are unique, and the difficulty raising and lowering is quite well scaled, something you don't see a lot in games this day and age. Now, with games this day and age, we do got to talk the conclusion of Omensight. Overall, Omensight itself is a strong game. It's a very suitable game, and one that isn't shy in what it has to offer or do. Now, the importance of the game as far as our conclusion is concerned, we do want to go over several facts. One, Omensight is at its core a game about revisiting, investigating, and constantly going back in the past to find out what got everything up to this point, to investigate every occurrence that has ever happened, whether it's through the eyes of one person or another. As the old tale goes, there's two sides to every coin, and luckily for our entire cast, we do get to investigate all sides of a single coin, or rather, all sides to a single dice. This does mean taking time to figure out who's wrong, investigating every small detail, whether the outcome is good or bad, and understanding that as you complete your days, you are ultimately, I should say, rewarded for every little thing you have done. Does this mean that this game is for everybody? No, it does not mean it's for everybody. But overall, it is a enjoyable experience. It's an artistic experience, and the music in it is some of the best you will hear in a long time, from its sound design to its gameplay mechanics. This is simply one of those games that we absolutely must say in our verdict that we highly recommend, and we hope that you enjoy. So, without further much ado, let's get to the scoring for the game. For our review of Omensight, we are going to say this is an absolute must-buy. We highly recommend this game and hope that you enjoy it as much as we have. Again, I'm your host here at Blast Away the Game Review, and we hope you enjoy Omensight as much as we have, and we look forward to our next review coming to you rather soon.
She is heading into the city alone. Shall we intercept?
You shall not. Remain at your post. I will deal with Ratica. Hegarians, your loyalty has made our nation strong. You carry that strength with you, for you are of Pygaria. You are Pygaria, and for Pygaria, march!